Hello and welcome to the Cameo Show. I'm your host, Cameo, and I have a confession. I love binge watching series on Netflix, Apple, Hulu, Max, Peacock, you name it. I don't even know all of the streaming services. I know I'm not alone. I am not a weekly network TV sitcom kind of gal, but series, they lock me in and I can't stop till they're over. And when they're over, I'm sad. I know I'm not alone in that either. 61% of Netflix users watch 2 to 6 episodes per sitting. And so I've been kind of curious about what is this fascination? How did we get here? How did I form a nightly routine around getting in bed with my ginger ale and popcorn or my protein pudding and turning on my favorite series and watching 2 or 3 episodes, more if they're shorter. And that's the highlight of my day sometimes, aside from being with my family, of course. But I can't wait sometimes to get started. So I've looked into it a little bit about the science behind how it impacts our brains, our relationships, and our routines, just out of curiosity. I also want to take a little bit of a positive spin on this for people because I know that it can sometimes be looked at as a waste of time or a way to detour you from your goals. But I'm telling you, I feel like it's a retreat at the end of the day sometimes because I'm constantly in go, go, go mode. And it's the only way that I can allow myself, after taking care of all of the things that I'm doing and even doing yoga or red light therapy or sauna at the end of the day and winding down, it's sometimes the only way that I can truly settle in and wind down at the end of the day and turn my brain off. So contrary to what people say, whether it's true or not, it helps me get tired, and I enjoy that aspect of it too. Anyway, onward. There is science behind binge watching your favorite series. And I feel like it started when they started releasing one a week, and then all of a sudden they dropped full series on us. Series, plural. 10 episodes at once, and you're like, what? Your brain explodes and you just can't stop. The science is that we get a hit of dopamine, a feel-good chemical, each time we watch a new episode. And it creates this loop that encourages us to keep going. Plus, they're very skilled at leaving us with cliffhangers, right? You know when the end of an episode is coming. And they have quick transitions that play into this feedback loop, and it makes it almost impossible, definitely very hard, to even hit pause. Plus, they just go right into the next episode. You don't even get a say. It just starts. And if you're not quick enough and you don't catch it, you're already in it. Binge watching activates the same pleasure center in our brain that food and exercise do. And that's why it feels so satisfying. Recently, I have completed Mr. Robot. Greg and I couldn't get enough of that. It's not even new, but we had 4 seasons to watch. So it was we got to get in there, and 2 or 3 a night if we could. I mean, often we fell asleep within the first 15 minutes of the first one that we turned on, but we had that to look forward to after everything was done. And I zoomed right through Nobody Wants This on Netflix. I watched that one on my own and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's such a feel-good, totally geared toward women who are wanting a positive example of what a man in our life should look like. I feel fortunate. I have my husband who, I wasn't really comparing myself to this series, but I'm certain that women in the dating scene appreciated this one for sure. Also, cultural differences. I feel like anytime we have something that displays those and gives us a little bit of insight to educate us a little bit, that always feels great too. I digress on that series. And now we're watching Bad Monkey. We just watched all of the episodes, and now these are the ones that drop once a week. In fact, I think there's only a couple more, and we're already through the whole season already. And then we're going to have to start something new. Anyway, it's fun to get involved, and it's a dopamine hit every episode. So there is science behind the fact that you can't quit. Binge watching is also a way for people to bond. So I remember 15 years ago when we lived in Ohio, we would watch American Horror Story every week with Greg's brother Luke and his wife, Lindsay, they would come over, or we would go to their house, and we would watch American Horror Story. I think it came out on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. That was before streaming services and before they dropped, entire series. There's that word again. Seasons, maybe, is the right word, because there's seasons of series. Whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. But they would come over, and that was when Faith was really little or Ben was really little. And so often one of us would be putting one of them to bed or having trouble getting them to bed while the other three would wait patiently. And then we would end up not being able to watch it anyway because we would miss it or it was too late or whatever. I think those were the days of DVR or even prior to. So you couldn't even pause and rewind it. But we tried. That was the first time that it became like a communal thing for me to watch a show. Well, now in modern day, this is like a way that people bond around the water cooler, right? This is a way that you have connection and common ground and conversations that transcend differences with people remotely. How many times do you hop on your Instagram story and say, what series should I watch? Or see someone talking about a series that they're watching, or listen to a podcast right now where I'm talking about these series. It creates this experience where we can connect and share something and a sense of community around a show. Pretty amazing. And like I mentioned, it's something that at the end of the day I look forward to it. It feels like stress relief. I finally shut my brain off and I don't really have to think. I just watch. I'm a big reader. I'm a big advocate of spending your time wisely and being productive, but I think we all deserve to have those moments where we feel like I'm not doing anything productive. All I want to do is sit and do nothing. That goes back to finding harmony and balance in your time management and really staying focused on your goals and allocating your time wisely. But I think it's a positive thing that we have this at the end of the night and the communal element. There are positives to binging and escaping reality a little bit. There are worse things that we could be doing to escape reality if turning on a show for 20 minutes or 2 hours at the end of each night is the worst of it. And I'm okay with that, at least for me personally. But there are downsides, and I would be remiss to not mention them, that obviously it's a sleep disruptor. There are some times where I'm up till 1 a.m. and can't stop. And then, of course, that impacts my 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. wake-up call, and I'm tired the next day. So you have to acknowledge that. Sometimes it can inhibit your ability to get moving, right? Where you might be working out, you're like, just one more, and you miss your workout, as an example. Or I guess even feelings of loneliness or escapism. Escapism isn't always a great thing. I was mentioning it as a positive, trying to find the positive for me at the end of the day, but also that could be a form of isolation, and that is obviously not healthy. So there are some negatives, and it is appropriate to mention those. It might take away from staying focused on your goals or from picking up that book and reading it, which on that, here's a segue for you. Watching a Netflix series, or any series for that matter, is exciting because there are cliffhangers and it's a loop and it feels good and dopamine. The same can be said for things like your workouts or for picking up a book and reading it. It's all how you decide to frame it. And I think that it's important to recognize that possibly you could just have good time management and make sure that you do all of those things. At least that's what I try to do. And then nothing feels like it's a cost. Everything feels a little bit more balanced, like I mentioned earlier. So positives, negatives, you got to put them on the teeter-totter and let them figure out how they balance and stay. Maybe not balanced, sometimes one side swings up, one side swings down. But overall, if you can find some happy place in the middle, like on a teeter-totter, nobody's butt goes banging on the bottom, right? You've all had that happen to you, don't lie. You know what I'm talking about. It's been fascinating to kind of think about the science behind it, to really look for ways to find the positives and negatives, and just be aware that it is one of America's favorite pastimes right now. And it's actually kind of cool if you think about it. Now, watching a movie feels like a really small commitment. I used to think, God, 2 hours of my life is a huge commitment. But the reality is that a movie is almost like a vacation because it has a start and a finish within an hour and a half or 2 hours, where if you start a series, you're in it for hours, maybe sometimes weeks, depending on how many episodes there are. Think about that. Pretty insane. So I encourage you to indulge your favorite series responsibly and to make time for adventure. Make sure that you don't let it consume all your free time and that you stay focused on the things that are important to you first, but also don't carry any guilt and shame about wanting to jump in bed or on your couch or wherever you like to watch them with whatever your favorite snacks are. Healthy 80% of the time, not so healthy 20% of the time, general rule of thumb, and enjoy life because it can be thrilling and there is nothing wrong with that. Send me a message with your favorite shows. I've watched a lot of series, not gonna lie, but I'm sure there are plenty out there that I haven't seen. So I would love to hear from you and know what you guys are watching so that I can add some to my list. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us on the Cameo Show. We'd love to connect with you further through Instagram at Cameo Elise Braun, or you can pop over to my website, cameoelisebraun.com, where you can find all of the past episodes of the Cameo Show, as well as any upcoming events or information about my upcoming book, The Reset Button, which will be due out over the next few months. Take care of yourself, take care of others, stay safe, stay weird. Until next time.